even though I'm looking at you, I'm not reading from a script, but I'm a huge sales and marketing manager. So, time gets away from me a lot. So what I have on my phone here is my notes to try and keep me on track in time. So if you see me, that's why I have my glasses on and my notes. Sorry, Moonshine?
I just started the recording, so let's kickstart the AMA. So everyone, my name is Moonshine, and I'm the host of today's AMA with Geek Space. And Geek Space is redefining how people connect, hire, collaborate across industries like marine tourism, hospitality, and entertainment. And so in today's AMA, we're going to see how Gig Tokens aims to be the largest token and projects for blue collar payments, even bigger than Bitcoin. So we have Shawn here with us, and he's here to talk about Gig Space, and I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting and interactive section. So Shawn, to start with, could you kindly introduce yourself?
Hi guys, good morning and good afternoon. My name is Shawn Butling. I'm the co-founder of gigspace.com, co-CEO. I'd also like to welcome my co-founder, Mark Morris. He is online. He's the co-founder and the co-CEO of gigspace.com. Mark and I have two very distinct roles. My role is, instead of we calling sales and marketing, we now call it engagement. So my role is engagement. I'm the face of the company, but Mark's sitting in silent, watching me. Hello, Mark, sitting in silent, making sure I get what my dream is. I take my dream, translate it into Mark's ideas, and then Mark makes it go live on our platform. Just remember that we have Mark, our back-end, our co-founder, co-CEO, joining us. So tonight is about work, crypto, and the world's that's changing faster than you think. Okay, as I said, before you guys could all join in, I've got my phone next to me with notes. I'm a big talker, so I don't want to run out of time. So if you see me going over the screen or quoting something, it's just to keep me on track. But it is fluid. So who I am, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I build solutions where I see problems. I'm the founder of Sensational Sydney Cruises. Sensational Sydney Cruises was the largest small group cruising operation on Sydney Harbor. I got the idea when I came back from a 16-month backpacking trip. I saw there was a real need for small group cruising. I was out at the Blue Mountains, and in luxury vans and mini drives, four-wheel drives, the passengers were in small group on land. But when they'd go to the water, they'd go on these big vessels with 200 people. So I bought a charter boat, and I was the first to do minimum 2, maximum 14 people. Every charter boat out there was a harbor thought I was crazy. 2 years I would go out with 2, 4 people. The normal rates for a charter boat was about $3,000. I was going out daily, 7 days a week for $400, $800. Everyone thought I was mad, but in the end, I wasn't. 2 years, we had 100% distribution globally, worldwide. Every travel agent was using us. I knew once they started clicking that button, they would click the button and click the button. So my vision is bold for Gig Space and Gig Token. Find the problem, and give it the solution. Mark is in my back end helping me provide the solution. So thank you very much, Mark. I'm just going on. I've got through my notes quicker than the 5 minutes I was going to do. So there we go. So with Gig Space,
I just want to say thank you for that introduction. So now getting to what the project is all about. What specific labor market inefficiencies or pain points did you identify in all the different, diverse industry that motivated you to build Gig Space?
Yes, so that's correct. So that's exactly what I was about to say next, Moonshine. So where Gig Space started and why. So Moonshine's asking, where was the pain points? What was the problems? And how did Mark and I come up with the solutions? Well, the pain points and problems is after selling the cruise company, I was approached by a travel agent, a large travel agent here. He said, Shawn, due to your entrepreneurial skills, we are short 2,000 tour guides. We need a solution for this. I spoke to Mark, and Mark said to me, Shawn, do you know about the gig economy? I said, no, tell me more about it. And Gig Space was formed overnight. So with the gig economy, in the tour guiding sector alone, you have about 75% of all guides are on what we call here in Australia, ABN contractor. And ABN is a different tax file number than a private tax number. So all the tour guides, 75% of the tour guides are based on ABN contractor arrangements. That means our pool just here in Australia is huge. So we're talking, we can monitorize gigspace.com and gig guides instantly with our gig connections and our gig economy. We take a 15% commission from what we call our scouts, pay 5%. A scout's an employer and a guru's an employee. The reason why we use these terms, scouts and gurus, is to minimize our tax and government taking an advantage and saying that we're hiring employees and employers, which is what we call employer-employee relationship scam contracting. So because of the pain points that were happening with the tour guides, I owned Sensational City Cruises for 17 years, and I had the same exact pain contract. I had such a hard time finding staff and good, reliable crew. I actually started a morning tea cruise from 10 to 12. My Pioneer cruise was my lunch cruise for $345. I started a morning tea cruise 10 to 12 at $100 a ticket, just so I could get full-time crew and get away from these contractors. Full-time versus contractors, you do have more, you have more dedication. So the pain point for me with Gig Marine and my cruise company, I experienced the same thing that the travel agents are experiencing with tour guides. So it only made sense to set up Gig Marine. I'm going to go through the platform features in a second, but I wanted to talk to you about the ecosystem. So we have two gig guides. So tour guides, travel agents post a job for 5% on a gig, and then the tour guide bids on it. They can take the price, they can bid higher or lower, they accept the job, and then we get a 25% deposit on the job once it's accepted. 7 days prior to the job being engaged, we then get the other 75%. So just imagine in monetization revenue, if we have 200 guides working or marine professionals, we make $4 million a year. That's almost $26 million that we're going to have just in escrow over a 14-day period. So with gig guides, once again, post the job, travel agent posts it, and the tour guides bid on it. 75% of all tour guides are on the ABN contractor. Gig Marine. We talked about my pain points. Boat owners post the jobs, and the marine professionals bid on them. BIA, Boating Industry Association, has earmarked there's over 10,000 contractors just in the marine industry. Please keep a mental note. I only need 200 full-time people, 7 days a week at $45 an hour to make $4 million on each vertical. So the potential and the upscale is huge. On top of that, if you take a new tech startup, the valuation at 10 times earning, just on one vertical, we're looking at a potential $40 million in value. Now, our next vertical I'm going to go over very quickly is called Gig Hotel. Gig Hotel is connecting hospitality managers to to gigs, so venues with hospitality, whether it's a chef, a deckhand, a chef or a wait staff or so forth. Gig hotel is really not much in the ABN contracting, but this has given us our forever free, where now we're not just a gig economy, we're a job board where employers called scouts can post jobs full-time forever free, and then they can apply for those jobs. And then that's totally free, but that's how we're going to get traction into our ecosystem and grow our database. From that monetization in the forever free, we anticipate in 2 years' time, we'll charge our gurus a membership if they want to be featured, and our scouts can get some extra special accounts, that we could even run their accounts for them. So think about LinkedIn in 2 years' time, how you can pay a premium service for your LinkedIn account. So that's Gig Hotel. Gig Stage, and the Gig Hotel and the Gig Stage are a little bit on the back burner, but they're always coming into play. Gig Stage is connecting venues with entertainment, and it only made sense because Mark said, Shawn, we're in the gig. We also have Gig Altitude. That's run by my 18-year-old son, Hugh Butling. He's an aspiring Olympian. And once again, Gig Altitude is going to give the gig space ecosystem a real play globally, because Hugh's traveling throughout the world competing in moguls, and he has the branding of Gig Space and Gig Altitude. Gig Altitude's connecting ski resorts with ski instructors, lift attendants. So the way the system works is if you want to go work in Whistler, you tick in Whistler and you can find all the jobs in Whistler. We have another one that I'm really excited about. It's called Gig Farm. Gig Farm is connecting our backpackers here in Australia. They call them the 88 days. We have a desperate need of farming staff in Australia. The government releases an 88-day visa where these kids can come and extend their holiday visa, working holiday visa for 1 year if they do 88 days in the farm area. That is very defragmented. The reason why it's defragmented is because the backpackers think the farmers are treating them poorly, and the farmers think the backpackers are treating them formally. So that's another huge gig economy that we can really tap into and monetize very quickly. So now, again, I don't want to get political, but we have to look at it. The Trump administration is kicking out all the illegals. Who's going to pick the fruit? Who's going to pick the farming in America? So, when Mark and I are building these verticals, we're looking at, the problems, what's the pain point, and where's our solution? With Gig Farm, the farmers are treating the backpackers bad. The backpackers are turning up drunk and not turning up, and they're treating them bad. So we have a 5-star rating review that's going to stop this immediately. The backpacker is going to rate the farmer, and the farmer is going to rate the backpacker. So going back to the Trump administration, they have no idea who's going to pick their farm, who's going to do their farming, who's going to do their crops. When it falls over, and the Trump administration for staff, Gig Space, Gig Farm is going to be here to help the farmers and pick up the pieces. We'll even be lobbying to the government to come up with something like the 88-day visa in America. So my last vertical I'm going to talk about is called Gig Relief. Gig Relief is our humane society giving back to society. I've always believed in any business I build, you have to give back more than you take. But Gig Relief is connecting volunteers with people in need. It's a totally free vertical in our ecosystem. So if there's a bushfire, if there's a flood, a person in need can post a job looking for a volunteer, and all of our gurus can go and offer their time. Once their time is complete, they will get a badge, a Good Samaritan badge attached to their profile. So when I talk about attached to their profile, you could now be a guru with 25-star reviews, and you could be a guru with 15 Good Samaritans. So if the job posted is $50 an hour, you could say, hey, look, I've got 100 reviews. I've got 25 Good Samaritan badges. I'll do it for 70. And I guarantee in my marine industry, they will take it all the time because of the skilled shortages that we have here. So that's how we're going to get the talent up to a better traction by the skilled, by bringing accountability into the ecosystem. Now, we've got new verticals coming, and there's an opportunity to this. We're going to have gig wellness, connecting personal trainers, dietitians to people that are in the gym. So you go to our gyms here in Australia right now, and there'll be about 15 cars with personal trainers. Think about this. Instead of having to call the personal trainer, text an email, and working out their schedule is online on our online AI matching, and their rates are online, and people can instantly connect, and we get that 15% connection fee. We also are looking at gig nanny. We wanted to do gig care, which would be nanny and care, but we could not buy the vertical for gig care, so we've had to call it gig nanny. But imagine connecting young children, 16 to 18, babysitting, and even nannies. Now, I'm going to laugh about this, the Arnold Schwarzenegger story. We all know what happened with his nanny. This is going to keep our nannies and childcare and home carers safe. You get a 5-star review, and the parents and the family will get a 5-star review. So if there's any type of funny business going on, the both sides can rate each other. So we're going to keep people safe with gig nanny. Also, we got Mark has in his background the verification documents that he verifies working with children's check, police checks. So these scales are the up and coming that I just spoke about. Mark and I are very passionate. We've got so many brands, so many verticals, so much in our ecosystem. If anyone has an idea, jump into our community. We're giving 20% equity away on each vertical. If you want to become the brand manager, or if you have your own idea for vertical, jump in, have a chat with Mark and I. But we do charge a $3,000 entry fee to build the vertical. And the reason is we want people's skin in the game. We don't want to just give equity. We're going to validate you, make sure that you're going to do the job, make sure you're passionate about whatever industry you're in. So it's kind of like almost like a global franchise for labor. So if you're a farmer listening to right now, hop in, let's have a conversation. Okay, so the hiring pain points, I'm stepping on to my next portion of my presentation. The hiring pain points, everyone in the room knows this. Job ads. Right now, with ChatGPT and AI, even in OpenAI, even in the US, they're trying to figure out how to build resumes that are different. Because right now, everyone that's looking for a job is using ChatGPT, OpenAI, building the resume and submitting a job. The HR, the people in culture, are receiving over 300 to 400 resumes per posting. It's crazy. It's insane. Mark and I did some numbers to hire one applicant through this old system. It's costing them approximately $1,200 per candidate for a successful hire. There's no way to judge the character, the reliability, and the real skill. So paralysis in HI decision making, it's just insane. So with Mark and I, what we have our candidates do is they upload their resume onto gigspace.com. AI instantly creates a profile of them with mandatory fields, 5 years employment, mandatory certifications, secondary certifications. They then have to do it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry to cut you off short, okay? So basically, I already have some questions ready, like to ask you. I think it's supposed to be more like a back and forth kind of thing. Like when I ask
Okay.
you questions, you give answers, and I
Yep.
ask you that question, you give answers. That's
So
to be.
So Moonshine, absolutely. Yeah, I do want it to be a two-way conversation. I thought we were going to do the questions and answering at the end, but so you're the moderator. So when you want to have a question, just say, "Excuse me, Shawn," and I'll answer it immediately. So let's get through some of those questions, Moonshine.
Okay. So I think one of the things I wanted us to touch into, because I think you've covered basically what you guys are trying to build. But I wanted you to also talk about like the token, the use cases of the token, and also how do you balance profitability while ensuring fair pay for gurus and affordable rates for scouts?
That's a very excellent question. Thank you for asking that question. This question is in reply to how do we protect the gurus from being to the race to the bottom in a marketplace? And that's been, we have something here in Australia called Airtasker. And the way we are ensuring that it's not a race to the bottom is number one, we are going into verticals where you have to have qualifications. So where you get the race to the bottom is if you're sitting there on Airtasker, you say, I need someone to move my furniture today. Anyone that's desperate for a job can go and do the furniture move. And they'll say, I'll do it for $50. I'll do it for $10. Okay. The verticals that we're going into, you have to have your certifications to, let's say the new one, Geek Wellness. You have to have certifications to be a trainer. In Gig Marine, you have to have all these certifications. There's no way we are going to encourage the people, our employers, to post race to the bottom rates. And it's through the marketplace, but also you have to remember we have such a skilled shortage. Right now, here in Australia, the award rate is $24 an hour for a captain. They are actually making in the marketplace already $70 to $75 to $100 an hour. So what we're doing is we're just translating them into transparency. That's a great question. Also, I wanted to make that point, Moonshine, with the race to the bottom and how do we guarantee pays. Uber is we believe is an employer-employee relationship. They can cancel the account. They do not tell the person when the job is until they accept the job. They set the rate. We don't set the rate. The marketplace sets the rate. The travel agent sets it. And if it gets too low, they won't get any employees to work for them, or what we call gurus. So great question, Moonshine. I love that question. Moonshine, do you have another question for me?
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Moonshine, Beckley's has a question for us. Benke's.
Yeah, that's the section. Don't worry. I'll call out those who would ask questions. So for
Okay, thank you.
between the both of us, and towards the end of the section, we'll call those who have questions to ask. So I think the next question I wanted to ask was, how does Gig Space plan to maintain consistent quality and reliability as you onboard more users globally, especially from different countries with varied standards?
That's a good question. So how do we, from different countries? So, this is a global platform. In tour guiding, it's a global platform. So we expect to go global very quickly. A company that I'm working with is called the Travel Corp. I hope to get them across the line in the next 6 months. They have 20 brands. They have Kentucky Tours. They have Trafalgar Tours. So we're going to be scaling quite quickly. How are we going to keep consistency as we scale from country to country? We will have the brand managers. We'll have a brand manager in UK, Europe. We'll have a brand manager in the USA. So in fact, there's going to be plenty of jobs coming up in the next 12 months with gig space, but we just got to grow globally, monetize. So that's how we're going to keep the consistency. Another way we're going to keep the consistency is we have partnered up with Payoneer. Payoneer is the largest global payment system in the universe right now. It's actually taken over PayPal for marketplace. But now we have what we call gig. We're entering the crypto community. So we're going to be first in market that workers globally can get paid through Payoneer in their own currency, and then transferred into their global wallet in fiat. Gig token is going to be our crypto our vision, and I'm going to talk about gig token at the end of my presentation and my vision for gig token. So that's how we're going to maintain consistency.
Nice. So can you briefly walk us through your tokenomics, how it is structured, to create a balance on long term?
Can I answer that? Because again, I'm going to answer the token stuff towards the end, if you don't mind, Moonshine, because I've got the notes on that. Because as I said, the gig token is a new vertical for me, a new, so I can very much answer that. But I'd like to refer back to my notes as well. So I'm speaking with fact and not story, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's fine. I think at this point, let's take some questions from the community. But before we do that, is there something else you'd like to mention?
Okay, so in your last question, I'm just going through my notes so we can get through it. The accountability, trust, and performance. So also about how do we keep consistency on the platform? We have our 5-star rating review. That protects the gurus and the scouts. We have verified documents, and we have our calendar dashboard. So that's how we're going to keep the consistency. We have the secure payments, as I mentioned, and that's through Payoneer, through the fiat. And that's why we're going. And Moonshine, it's ironic. In my notes, I'm ready for the gig token anyway. So sorry about that. So anyway, so that's how we keep the consistency. So Moonshine, how about I just read through my notes, my vision about gig token, and then we take all sorts of questions on the token and my plans.
I think we have 1 hour to spend on this AMA, and we have less than 30 minutes to the end of the AMA. Okay, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
So I think if you have any last thing to add, you could just add that so that we can start taking questions from the community, because we have less than 30 minutes to conclude the AMA.
Okay, and I can get through okay, so with the gig token, guys, what I wanted to discuss is, when I was approached to do gig token, we were actually looking to give equity in the company. We are seeking $2 million worth of fiat through the traditional angel and angel investing and VCs. So we have to look at it. BRICS, Russia, China, they're trying to release the US dollar independency. Crypto adoption is rising globally. We see what's happening in America. There was a really huge push for Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's now being traded seriously within the stock market. So we're looking at the crypto adoption. You guys asked me about the uniformity, and that's how we brought in Payoneer, and now we're bringing in gig. So gig, it's not an equity, it's a utility, but our long-term plan is execution, that every person that's working on the gig platform, they can use the gig as a payment like they can use Payoneer. A global payment, much quicker, much smarter. With our gig token, we are going to be giving discounts if they use gig token in our platform. The admin, the work is much easier for Mark to handle. So it's a reality. And so that's how we're doing the gig token. Let me just go through my notes. I think I'm about done about that. So now, yes, Moonshine, let's take some more questions and answers on those.
Okay.
So I'm ready for some questions whenever you have some.
Okay, hear me. Sorry, I'm having
I can
some
hear you
network.
now. Yes.
Okay, so let's get some questions from the community. So guys, if you have any questions, kindly signify by raising your hand. So Banky, you've been unmuted. You can ask a question, mate.
Okay, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Shawn. It's been a great opportunity speaking with you. I've been listening for some time here, and you've done your best, presenting the project to the community. My question to you will be, in the website, the labor hire redefined, where you were talking about that organization can come and people can seek employment through your website. I wanted to ask organization who are looking to hire labor into the organizations. Do they need how much fee will you guys charge for those organizations in order for them to advertise positions that are vacant on your website in order for them to I don't know if you get my question, for them to advertise positions that are vacant on your website in order to get the required number of people that will be applying for that position. I don't know if you get my question.
I'm just going to rephrase your question, Bank, please. So what you're asking me is, on the site, can people advertise advertise for jobs? The answer is yes. Everyone advertises for free. All job postings are free, whether it's for a permanent job or whether it's a contract gig job. The charges that we charge is 5% connection for the gig jobs, for the advertiser or the business. In 2 years' times, we are going to monetize where we're going to start charging a feature where if you want to stand out from another employer, another scout, pay your $75 a month and get your features. It's sort of like the LinkedIn where you get premium on LinkedIn. Have I answered that? And also just about advertising as well. On our dashboard, we're also monetizing people that sell services. So we have our first advertiser, me being the Opal company. We have National Opal Collection that actually advertises on our platform, and they're rolling banners in their dashboard. Sorry about that. Have I answered the question correctly, Bexley, or just a real quick?
Yes.
No, can you change this, Shawn, or change that?
Yes, you've done well in answering the question. My second question is in regards to the entertainment feature. So I wanted to ask, will you be having like a visual section for this?
Thank you so much, Bankis, for your question. We take one question per person so that we can get to everyone. So thank you so much for asking your question. If you have any more questions, kindly go to the Big Space Telegram channel or community to ask your question. Thank you. So I muted someone else, Clara. So Clara, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you, Moonshine. Your platform, my question is, your platform serves many sectors. How do you maintain sectors specific quality standards while operating across such a wide range?
That's a really great question. Sorry, I'm talking too loud. That's a really great question. And you know, this question answers is fantastic. How do we maintain the quality in our platform? So each vertical on the gig marine, on the gig guides, we have in each vertical, we have our job posting. We then have our e-learning called Gig e-learning. For instance, if you go to our site, sign up for our platform, we have a free online tour guide course for free. $150, you can take the course, and it's all about customer service. In our Gig e-learning, besides us uploading some free courses, we will also be promoting different schools, whether it's a TAFE, a university, so we can upskill these people in this in each vertical. So that's how we're going to maintain it. In our gig community, in each vertical, there's a chat box, just like you'd see on like a Facebook group. Hey, I'm trying to get my ticket for this. Hey, how many hours do I need to become a captain? So that's in our gig community. So there's going to be a lot of influencers within each vertical that's really shining and saying, hey, I'm a specialist in marine electrician. I'm a specialist or in guiding in historical places or guiding. So that's a great question. And I didn't tap onto that. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Clara, for that question. I think we're getting some feedback, so I had to mute. Probably some network connection. So, yeah. So a question also came in here while you were discussing. Like, if the question was, what partnerships or collaborations you guys have right now, and what kind of organization or industries are you guys looking to partner with?
Oh my God. So this is a good question. I don't know if it's come from our community, but thank you for that. I hate to reveal too much, guys, you know, because I'm all about wins. You know, you look at gamblers, they always talk about their wins, their wins, their wins. They never talk about their losses. But I'm going to put it on the line and pretend that we're all here playing poker so you can see my hands. We have been working for over 6 months with the pain point in the industry with BIA, Boating Industry Association. BIA is the largest .org organization in Australia. They have a platform called Marines Jobs. They are trying to address the 3,000 skilled shortage in the marine industry. And they said, Shawn, Marines Job website is the biggest hidden secret in the world. I'm working with the CEO and the head of Marines Job. They love what they're doing. If I get this collaboration across the line, I just emailed them again yesterday. I spoke to the CEO because we had some more discussions with another .org that is looking into sailing. So if we get this across the line, the endorsement means we go to the moon instantly. You know, we take something, a platform that would take us another 6 months. We're still, if we don't get it, we're not worried about it. It just means we monetize longer. But this is a real connection. I'm very confident, very positive. Within the Marines, BIA.org, they have 10,000 contractors. So if they endorse us, so that's the type of, and then my next one is the farming industry. I'm actually going to skip the guiding for a second and go to the farming, because the farmers, I'm going to go down to Canberra, our government, and talk to the Farming Association down there and say, this is what we did with Bayer, this is what we did with the marine industry in Australia, and then get them on board and help their pain points. Australia is going to be the beacon for, we found a problem, we know the problem, identified it, we had a solution, and that's how we go global. So great question, guys.
Thank you so much for going through that. So I think that came from Kayla. So Kayla, thank you so much for that question. That was an interesting one. So another question here coming from Robin. Robin asks, he says, what is the roadmap? What do you guys have mapped out in the next coming months for your projects?
So
what are the things you guys
Moonshine, can you repeat that question? You were breaking up a little bit. I'm listening loud and clear.
About that. So I said Robin was asking, what is your roadmap? What do you guys have mapped out in the next coming months? What features are you guys building on in the gig space?
So what our roadmap is, and that's a great question as well. Thank you very much for it. What our roadmap is that we are actually working with B2B first. The biggest problem in a marketplace, and had I not known this, I would have started this 18 months ago. The biggest problem is it the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken? So in other words, do we need to get hundreds of employers looking for employees, or do we have to get hundreds of employees looking for employers? So if we get all the employers on the platform and then there's no employees, and this is what's happened with the Marines jobs, the BIA, they had all of the businesses, but they didn't have any of the candidates on there, and that's why they're struggling. So the roadmap is for us, is where Mark and I literally, we scroll Facebook, no bots, just grit and grind and hard work, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. We find a candidate looking for a job. We find a job that's been posted on 20 different locations, and we match them up physically that way to get the traction. We did try our roadmap of doing the large social media, but the engagement was so low, it wasn't even worth it. So until we can get more matches and success, it is really grit 7 days a week. Having the roadmap, though, of being able to tie in with large corporations like the Travel Corp, they'll post the jobs, we'll advertise them, and that's how we'll go on our global. That's our global expansion. Tying in with BIA, the boating industry. So that's our roadmap, but our roadmap is large, our vision is huge, and we will hit every target. As you can see, if you've looked on my Facebook, I'm looked on my X, just recently, we just scored an international event with Michael Cartwright. He's come on to the board of directors, and we are looking after 250 staff and volunteers for the Deaf World Cup Championship, soccer or football as we call it in Australia, in 2027. That event alone will give us $100,000 in profit over the 2 weeks. And that event alone, because it's on the world stage, will just bring us world recognition. So thank you for the roadmap question.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Robin, for asking that very important question, because when we see that the project is or the team is constantly working on certain features, it shows that the project plans to stay here in a long term. So while you were asking, we have lots of text questions coming in in the comment section. So I'm trying to pick the very good one. So I think the last question we'll be taking for tonight is from Neil. Neil is asking, how does gig space handle insurance or liabilities for gigs with risks? Does the scouts need to provide coverage?
That is an excellent question. Very excellent question. So we are working with multiple insurance companies. And so with the tour guide insurance, it's called Marsh Insurance. And the guides have the option to buy tour guide insurance for $500 a year. Okay. Then what they do is if the tour guide, but right now we have such a skilled shortage. We have such a shortage. Travel agents are having to take guides uninsured. They're having, unlike Uber, where you have to have your insurance. There's such a skilled shortage and there's such a distraction in the market. But we're encouraging all of our tour guides to get tour guide insurance. It's $500. Our plan with Marsh Insurance is that they now will offer it for $40 a month. As soon as we hit 5,000 users, we will be able to get our gurus a percentage insurance on each job. So they don't have to spend as much capital investment to do their gig part-time work on the weekends or in the evenings. The same thing, we've just done an agreement with the Skipper's Marine Insurance. And we just sent out a newsletter. When you have a plumber come to your home, they have insurance. When a skipper goes onto a boat, and we remember there's 10,000 crew members out there, they do not have insurance. The world is changing. The insurance companies, when they're damaging the vessels, they're not accepting it anymore. So we're actually educating the industry, just like in our gig learning, so that they do take the insurance. So in each vertical, we will be providing insurance, and our long-term vision roadmap with the insurance is once we have over 100,000 users, 200,000, we renegotiate with these insurance companies and say, we want you to either sell the whole plan for the year, annually, monthly, or per gig at a percentage. Great question.
Thank you so much, Shawn. That was a very, very comprehensive explanation about that. And thanks for throwing more light on that. I think this is where we'll be wrapping up the AMA. But so far, I really want to say that you were so thorough with your explanations and your answers to the questions, because it shows that you are really passionate and knowledgeable about what you're trying to do. And, this is what investors are trying to see. They want to see teams that are passionate about what they're building, because it shows that you carry the interest of the investors and then, the people who you would be employing into your project or your company at heart. So I really just want to appreciate about that. And I know you mentioned earlier on that you have a lot of other teammates, like Dark Knights, who also came on earlier. So you could as well send a very big kudos to them, that I really like what you guys are doing. I'm sure the investors who were throwing in some very key questions after going through and listening to what you had explained earlier really appreciate what your team is building. So with that, I think that's all the questions we'll be taking, and I really appreciate those who brought out the time to join in. And I know this is a kind of like an odd hour for AMAs, but everyone still tried to participate, throwing some questions. And for those who I wasn't able to get to their questions, really sorry about that. It's just because of time, but you can definitely join the Geek Space community. Throwing your questions, I'm sure Shawn and the other teammates will be very happy to get to those questions. So with that, Shawn, I'd like to give you the final ground to give the concluding statement before I end the AMA.
Guys, so I've got my final statement here. Let me just pull up my notes. Sorry. So Moonshine, you're absolutely correct. We've only got 35 people in the community now on the Gig Space Telegram community. But people can't talk, but I am very approachable. I try to respond within 15 minutes to an hour. I'm getting about 5 hours sleep at night. So if there's not a response for 5 hours, I'm sleeping. But in my closing statement, I just created this just to make sure that I got it across the line. Gigspace.com is not a company. Gigspace.com is a lifeline for the workforce of tomorrow. We are going to see 28% of the white collar workers shift from not having a job and needing to reskill. That's where our gig e-learning will come into. When the world moves, we will move with it. When the industries fall, because of the 28 shift from AI, we will catch the people inside them. We will join and we will build together as a team. And I want to leave this last statement. We saw COVID was a looking glass for the future. It's going to be 10 times X, and we are going to be here to fill the solutions. Okay, so this is where humanity meets innovation, one connection at a time. Thank you very much for the presentation. Please reach out to me in the community, and I'll answer all the questions that we didn't get to. I'm here, I'm live, and I'm ready to participate.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shawn. So thank you so much, everyone. See you guys in the next AMA.